Alright, so in this video, like I said previously in the previous video, I hit 100k. I'm no longer pushing rating. I'm not going to play as quick. I'm going to try and just have fun and also do some informative stuff. So I want to try and teach how to do the storm package. Um, this is something that um, a lot of people keep having confusion about when they come in the Discord. They're usually like, I can't make storm do damage. I can't like make it function. It's just bad, etc. And people tend to think that storm's bad because of it, but it's actually super powerful. It's a very self-centered package. It really wants you to play around storm. So a lot of the build is just going to be storm items. This is why when I'm climbing rating, I have it turned off because of the fact it's not as consistent. Like I can't mix match it too much with other packets for it to really excel. It has some overlap with Arcane, but that's about it. So we're going to turn off Dark, and I'm going to turn off Moon, because it kind of like Storm, these things are also self-centered, but Moon has Moon Knives, so usually I leave it on for Moon Knives and Midas Diary shenanigans. But in this case, since I'm trying to focus around Storm, I'm only going to have Storm on. I'm going to leave Witch on as well, because Witch can give us vials and stuff from like Brew Today, which can have shock potions in it, which is very nice when it comes to the Storm package. For our perks, I'm going to just throw on some value-oriented perks. So I really like Tempo. I'm going to throw on Electric because we're playing around Storm. Having the extra shock damage is quite nice. Plus the shock zone for your Tempest can be quite nice. And then for our final two, I'm going to just do the Epic Chest. And then likely, what else can we run? Let's go with... I want something like, we'll go with luck because it can give us the random item, and I kind of like the plus 2% luck. You don't really feel it all that much, but it's placebo-wise, I generally think sometimes I get more lucky rolls because of it. So I'm going to just do this. Hopefully we land on electric or tempo, but any of these are fine. So let's just get in. Okay. So it gives us 30 shield, that's not great. This first shop is not that great. This is kind of like a brick wall. We do have triple ruby knife though, which is kind of funny to see. Amethyst bow is fine. I'm just gonna roll though. I'm mainly looking for 15 costs. If you watch myself or Michu play, this is basically the tempo opener. You fill your board with 15 costs on day 1, sometimes on day 2, but most of the time on day 2 you just level, but you do this so that way on day 3 you can pair off your 15 costs for epic chests. Sometimes you do it on day 4, but for the most part, this is like one of the highest tempo strategies you could do in terms of just finding power as fast as possible. And if we combine an epic chest on day 3 and it has something like Storm Guard or a Storm Pike in it, then we're extremely happy for the Storm package. So day 2, I see this Novice Blade, I'm just going to freeze for it, and I'm going to level. We're just going to go. Well, he's got an early Flame Orb. Kind of interesting. But we win here, so it's fine. Now, for early game Storm, you kind of have like 3 items. You have Lightning to Go, which is the book that just applies shock. You have Outdoor Knife, and you have Morning Star. The best item is Morning Star. We'll go Healing Touch like we usually do. I'm going to pick the level up, and then we're going to combine for the Epic Chest. Hope for a Storm item. We did not. Oh my god, this is like Michu's dream. He got a free Mythic Rod on day 3. I'm going to have to hurt his feelings and take the Dreamcatcher. But really what we're looking for is, like, these are fine early, but what we're looking for is, okay, I shouldn't have rolled anymore, is something like a Storm Guard or a Storm Pike early. It's hard to force Storm if the key pieces just don't show up, so it might not end up being a Storm video. I'm going to try to make it a Storm video, but, I mean, you can see how it's going already. I'm Dreamcatchering a Novice Blade. Okay, so I'm gonna go with gaining the hook here. Usually I go with plunder, but I'm gonna take the hook because we have a Dreamcatcher, so if I can speed this up, it's gonna be good gold generation. This is kind of bait to pick. If you pick an early Cauldron, you then need to pair it off with a bunch of witch items for it to be useful, which it takes a while and it kind of slows you down. It is day 4. I'm going to just level, so we increase our epic odds slightly, and then hopefully on day 5 we can finally find one of our combo pieces. Hopefully this hook will create a bunch this day, so that way we can actually get our, get some gold up. So far we're being lucky. I think this has been a crit on every trigger so far. Okay, we missed once. Twice. There we go. Oh, I think we missed 2 crits there. Yeah, 13 triggers, 11 crits. That's probably some of the best value I could have hoped for from it. Okay, so let's look. Don't want any of these. Morningstar is fine. This gets us rolling, so we can now start speeding up the Morningstar. It's going to increase our shock damage. Finding the things that increase your shock damage early is super important. See if we can find any more. I'm going to sell out the shield because I don't want it to keep showing up in the shop. Midas Diary is pretty good since we have a sped up hook a little bit. Sell out the Bone Club as well. I'm going to keep the sword though because I sped it up and it's got some decent damage on it for now, so we'll just get like this. Dreamcatcher it onto a Mythic Rod. If you ever get a Mythic Rod opener like this, just sell every other item unless it's like Brass Knife. Because you want your Mythic Rod to be the thing doing all the damage, so you want this triggering as many times as possible per day to ramp its damage up. Every hit that this Twilight Edge has done, every hit that this Molten Bow has done, has reduced my health, meaning that there's less health for the Mythic Rod to hit to get extra triggers on. We are going to take instant experience, saves us 40 gold. Level. Now then, let's have a look to see if we can find us some more shock items. Staff of Zeus is very important for later. We could pick it up right now, which we are. We're going to pick it up right now. It pairs off with this. So now, when shock triggers on the enemy tower, it's going to trigger 2 stacks instead of 1. Oh my god, look at this. Could have been a Frosty build as well. This is why I don't like forcing, because there's been some powerful options. Okay, so we have our Pike here. This is super important. The entire package, like the entire build identity of Storm, needs you to have a surplus of shock stacks on the tower. Pike is the best item for this. What this does is on trigger, permanently gain +1 shock. This means this goes from applying 1 shock to applying 2 shock, from applying 2 shock to 3 shock, 4 shock, 5 shock, etc. Permanently, ramping up and up and up. And as you level it, it goes to 2, and then 3, and increases the shock damage. And then if you get it to 3, it's increasing shock damage by 20 and applying 4 more extra. But since this is permanent shock gain, this Pike is going to end up with a lot of shock stacks, which is very important for when it comes to Tempest triggering shock. Making sure that this has enough stacks and speeding up a little bit is very, very, very important. So we're going to roll a tiny bit more. Making sure that way... Okay, we just dropped below it. I'm very silly. Okay, there's the Storm Guard. This is pretty much perfect for us now. So we're going to sell out of all these eco items. And we don't need to worry about speeding up this Morningstar anymore. We're going to do this. And we're going to speed up the Storm Guard, so that way it's going to increase our shock damage. It's a better version of the Morningstar, because it doesn't damage the enemy. In a sense, when you're ramping, you don't want to kill your enemy too quick, because you want more time to be able to ramp up your damage for future days, but you still want to win rounds. Storm Guard is really good for that, because it, one, doesn't do damage itself, but has a decent shield value on it of 45, whilst being pretty quick at 2.5 already. This did get nerfed, because it used to be 2.3. But on every trigger increases your shock damage by 2. Meanwhile, Morningstar needs 2 triggers to increase your shock damage by 2, whilst also applying shock. This is just good because it can show up day 1 and day 2 without like needing epic odds. Storm Guard requires epic odds, so this will only really show on day 3 or onwards, or sometimes day 2 if you leveled day 1, but you shouldn't be leveling day 1. This is the main combo that you need right now in the mid game, is these 2 items to ramp up the damage, and this item to be able to ramp up how many stacks you put on at once. And then technically, if we want to get really min-maxy, we should de-equip these. But for the sake of just getting a win, I'm not going to do that. Like, if I wanted to get the biggest shock damage possible, would basically de-equip these, just have these 3 items in with a Dreamcatcher, so that way this ramps up our damage, and these get to hit as many times as possible without killing the enemy. But I also kind of want to win, so I'm going to do this. So like you'll see now the yellow number over here, this is our shock damage. It's triggering twice because of the Staff of Zeus, and it's also going up, up, and up. Once we get to the level 7 area, that's when things get really interesting, because that's when we start finding Tempest and Skybolt and stuff. So now our shock damage is at 88 already. And there's our Pike. Take it. Hopefully this has a Tempest or a Skybolt. It did not, so we're going to sell the most expensive item. Let's level up, because I don't want to roll too much to find legendaries when we're only level 5, because your legendary percentages cap out at 20% at level 7. So I'd much rather be level 7 before I start rolling down looking for legendaries. Right now, we're just going to use this time to scale our health up, make sure we keep our level somewhat equal to the day number, so that way we stay on level and we have a good income, whilst we're just scaling this build up. Well, look, this got down to 1.8, okay. We are a little scared to see builds like this whilst we're trying to scale, because they're so aggressive. Like, look how much damage they're doing to us already. Like, we're ramping and we're doing decent damage, but they kill us so quick that we don't actually get that many triggers off of our Storm Guard here. We went from 88 damage to 118. Could have been much more. Taking Life Surge here will only take us to 6. It won't give us an extra day, so we're just going to take Vitality. And now we're going to level again. And then if we roll, we won't be able to buy the items that we want, so I'm just not going to roll. This person has... See, this person's going to kill us slowly. They're probably going to win because of the poison ramp. But we get a lot of procs here. This is good. Yep, that's fine, that's fine. So now we go down to 1 life, but we are up to 192 shock damage. So here we could Frosty the Pike when there's no need. I kind of wish we had a Tempest because I'd Frosty the Tempest. That could be a very good burst combo with the Pike. We could take Deep Freeze to force more like Pikes and stuff like that in the shop. Or we could take Master Elderos and upgrade the Pike, so that way it's increasing our shock damage as well. Or we could just go slot buffs. I'm going to do this since we have the Pike already. By having the Pike now, increasing our shock damage as well, just means there's more value behind it. This isn't what... Oh wait, this is 1 second. Whoops. So now that this is 1 second, we actually need to speed up the Pike. I'm going to take the Skybolt though, we're going to slot it. Now every time shock triggers, this triggers, kind of like Shardfang. It'll throw out a bolt though, every time shock triggers, and obviously it's triggering twice because of Staff of Zeus. But we need to speed up the Pike a little bit, just so when we find the Tempest, it activates before the Tempest activates. We're not going to upgrade the Morning Star because we're going to sell out of it to put the Tempest in. We'll take this though, and we will go next. This is a little scary to see. This isn't ramped that much though, but it's okay. Scary because of the amount of poison that he's going to stack in rapid succession. But as you can see here, like the Skybolt, it's kind of just turreting. Playing from behind with a build like this is perfectly fine as long as you find what you need. Cool. So now our shock damage is up to 313. That's pretty good. Okay, so we are still a little bit low on health, but if we find our Tempest, here it is. We're now going to slot our Tempest, sell out the Morning Star, and level. So this is the main combo for shock. We've ramped our damage a bit. We have a good way of applying a lot of shock. Now Tempest can force that shock to trigger, and then Staff of Zeus is a multiplier for that because this will be triggering 4 shock because it's got the 4 multi up here. So this will trigger 4 shock whenever it hits the enemy. But because this is doing twice the amount of shock, it's actually triggering 8, which means that this is firing 8 times. And we're doing generally just like 8 instances of shock damage, which is right now 313, so it's quite a lot. But if you notice, Tempest has a 2.9 second cooldown, Pike has a 3.2. This means Tempest is actually going to activate before we apply our shock. This is why we need to reduce the cooldown of Pike. Pike needs to be slightly faster, if not equal to Tempest, because travel time. So the shock gets applied before the burst happens. Otherwise, we're going to be in a situation like this, when the bolts fire before the shock actually lands, and then it's like there's a staggered amount of damage delay here. But after that first trigger cycle, it's fine. Now it's at 3 seconds, which is fine, because the melee hit will occur after the projectiles get launched, but the projectiles will be in the air. This will hit, and then they'll detonate. We're going to take Benediction, because if we can lucky roll and get a bunch of copies of these, we're going to be very happy. Now we just really want to upgrade our Tempest and our Staff of Zeus, though. None of this does anything for us. This is great. So we're going to take the value potions, take the chests, sell them, do this. Cool. Take our money, and take most expensive item here and sell it. Oh my god. There we go. Dragon's Cool is actually kind of great whilst we're waiting for more Tempests, because now when this triggers, this will just detonate a lot of shock. Roll. Oh, this is exactly what I called out. This is why we took the benediction. This is perfect. So, do we have enough money to do what I want to do? We're doing this first. We're going to sell out the spare Dragon's Call. Then we're going to pad this off. Let's get enough of Dragon's Call. This will take us to 31, so we won't be able to afford what we want, so I'm going to freeze it. We're going to do a lot of damage now. Cool. There we go. The Dragon's Call isn't necessary here. It just is a nice burst combo with Tempest. Technically, you can get away with, like, instead of having the Dragon's Call, having a second Tempest, because it is a faster activation than Dragon's Call. But, yeah, it's fine. This is going to sell for quite a bit now, so we're going to sell it, and I'm actually going to level twice, and then freeze for the Storm Guard. The main reason I'm doing... Actually, I'm just going to sell out this as well, by the Goblet. The main reason I'm doing that is because I'm more worried about our health right now than buying a shield that we're not even going to slot. So, I'm just trying to think of the future in case we fight someone like this who has more health as well. But they also have a lifeguard still. It's very interesting. But yeah. Hopefully this has been informative so far, and people have learned something about Shock and Storm as a package as a whole, and how easy it is to actually get it set up once you find your main combo pieces. Like, it's mainly finding these two things early into the run. If you see one of these on day 3 or 4, that's pretty much an indication that you can kind of try and go for a Shock build. Without these two things, one of these two things showing early, this whole package falls apart because now your Shock's not really doing anything. Let's roll. Sure, we'll take a Dragon Skull. Let's get rid of this axe. We're mainly now looking for Staff of Zeus, because each level of Staff of Zeus that we get, which stacking these doesn't do anything, so if I did this, it's not going to trigger more Shock stacks. Not like what it does for Burn. But each level of Staff of Zeus that we get detonates even more and more and more Shock. And if you ever 3-star it, it instantly detonates every Shock that gets applied, which means the 100 Shock that we apply from this Storm Pike would go crazy with a 3-star Staff of Zeus. Alright, so let's go into our last fight. We're just going to one-shot Snappy over here. Oh, close to a one-shot. And there we go. There's a Shock win. I hope this was informative. I hope people learned something. Shock is extremely fun to play around and to get going. There's many variations of Shock that you can do within its own package. This is the main line, though. This is like the most common one that you'll find. This is the most common one that you should run for it to really excel and get going. And in my opinion, it's probably one of the most fun because of just how visually appealing it is when Skybolt starts going crazy. So, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.